This video will be a continuation of the guitar lesson for tonight by Prateek Kuhad. So far we have learned how to play right, and in this video we will be learning how to play Alright, so in order to play that, we will be making the F shape right over here by placing our thumb on the first fret of the low E string. Our first finger will be on the first fret of the B string, and our ring finger will be on the third fret of the D string, right? After this, we will be plucking the low E string first, right? And after that we'll be plucking the D string and the B string. Next we'll be playing, right? So that's the low E string, your G string, followed by your D string, right? So it's right. Next you'll be playing right. So that's your low E string and your high E string, open high E string together, right? Next is your D string, G string, your low E string, right? Followed by your B string and your D string, right? So all together it sounds like this. Remember what I told you about bass notes. So here the pattern is like this, right? After you've played that, you'll be playing this, right? So that's low E string first, right? So that's your low E string first, followed by your D, G, B and your high E string, right? Followed by your low E string, your first three strings, followed by your A string, right? So next you play your low E string and the first three strings together, right? So that's your low E string and your first three strings together, followed by your D, open D string and the first three strings, right? Next you'll be playing the low E string, followed by the first three strings and the A string, right? So right. Alright, after you've played that, you will be moving over to this shape over here. Right, so that's basically a C shape with the rest of your fingers. Right, so your pinky on the third fret of the A string, middle finger on the second fret of the D string, and your first finger on the first fret of the B string, right? And then you'll be playing this. Right? Sorry. Right, you'll be playing. Right, so you'll be plucking the A string followed by the first 4 strings, right? Followed by your low E string, right? So that's your low E string, the first 3 strings, the A string, and the first 3 strings, right? Right, after you've played that, you will be placing your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and your pinky will be on the 3rd fret of the D string, right? And then you'll be plucking this, and then you'll be playing this. Right? So your thumb will be playing, and after every of these bass notes, it will be followed by the first 3 strings. So it's the E string first, followed by the first 3 strings. Next is the A string, followed by the first 3 strings, the D string, next the A string, right? So, right? So, all together. Right, so you will be playing this till he sings "We'll Sway with the Clouds," right? So I guess that's a total of 3 times these 2 bars, for these 2 bars, right? So right, so you play that 2 more times, right? A total of 3 times. Right, after you've played that, we will be moving over to "We'll Sway with the Clouds," and that sounds like this. Right, so the first part is similar to what you've learned in the beginning of this video. So that's the first bar from this video. That's right. After you've played that, you will be making the C shape, right? And then you will be what you'll be doing here is your thumb will be alternating between the A string and the D string, right? So right, so you'll be playing those notes. So that's basically your C shape first, right? And your thumb will be playing, right, the A string and the D string. Then you place your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and your G string and your D string will be open, right? And your first finger will stay where it is. Alright, so after you've made that shape, you will be playing the A string and the D string again. So, right. Next, you place your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, right? And you'll be playing the A string and the D string once again, right? Right, it's going to be 3 times now. Next, you will lift off your middle finger and play the open D string, right? Right. Right, those will be the notes that are played by your thumb. And now for your G string and the B string, right? So your G string and your B string will be played by your first 2 fingers, right? Followed like after every bass note over here, right? So you'll be playing the G string and the first fret of the B string, right? Open G and first fret B after every bass note over here. Right, so you'll be playing that, but you have to play them in a quick manner. So Prateek Kuhad uses this kind of plucking style in songs like 100 Words and Tune Kaha. So yeah, so you start with that speed, and then you build the speed slowly, right? If you are a beginner, it might be a little difficult, but practice, right? So after you've played that, you will be going back to the first bar again. Right? And back to what you've learned in the second bar. So that's right. So this second bar, you'll be playing it 3 times. So that's right. So that's a total of 3 times. So that's one whole bar and then a half of it, right? So right, after you've played that, we will be moving over to You'll Be the One, right? So here he does a single strum for all the shapes. Right, so in order to play this, you will be making the first shape from the video, right? So your C shape with your pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E string. That's your first shape. Next is your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, D string open, G string 1st fret with your 1st finger, right? And your 3rd fret of the B string with your pinky and your high string open, right? So next is your A minor 7, right? So that's open A string, 2nd fret of the D string, open G string, 1st fret of the B string, and open high E string, right? And finally it's your right, so that shape is basically your open D string, your 2nd fret of the G string, 1st fret B string, and 2nd fret of the high E string, right? Then he sings Tonight, right? So